Definitely not the starters. You're on the End of the Bench podcast from 100.7 The Score.
I'm Mike Hebert, owner of Cantex Roofing and Construction. Every day is game day, and we'll get it right when it comes to your roofing, construction, windows, and mirrors. Call Cantex Roofing and Construction today. Together, we are one serving you.
Did we get any update on the knife situation?
No.
You were doing some digging.
I think today should be the day that I should get my open records request back, and I would imagine today would be the day that the Big 12, if they're going to say anything on the situation, would probably want to get that out of the way before.
Can you just catch us up on the situation? You reached out to Texas Tech officials and Big 12 officials?
Big 12 officials, Big 12 officials, you know what, I'm going to go ahead and say this. I don't know the Big 12 officials, and that's not true. Out of the handful of times that I've contacted Big 12 officials on such matters, only one time have they responded to me. Okay. And they have yet to respond to me on this one. I tried to contact them, by email, phone call, and text message. None were returned. But they were busy figuring out the situation. So the situation, you want me to follow do the whole bit here? Yeah, so Texas Tech official Robert Giovanetti said that a personnel member of the Kansas staff, I don't know if it was a coach, somebody with Kansas obviously, found a pocket knife and turned it over to Robert Giovanetti, who then turned it over to somebody else that works at Texas Tech. Then it was eventually given to Texas Tech police, and they have said knife in their custody.
Okay, so they found knife on the ground.
That was never. Well, yes, I would assume. Yes, it was caught out of the air.
Well, they assumed it was thrown. Did they see it thrown?
That was not the term that was used to me, and I used in my tweet, was discovered. So never was thrown used. Now they were reviewing film, whatever video, to see if they could find or if they could see when the guy picked it up or any of that. Yeah. But thrown was never used.
Okay.
I feel like I have to say that over and over again.
Sure.
But.
So we'd played the hypothetical. Is it like how many things do you have to make up before you get to pocket knife?
Yeah.
And I thought, well, isn't it more likely that they just, they did find a pocket knife?
Yeah.
But in some kind of telephone world, you get from one assistant up to the head coach, and he thinks it was thrown and hit somebody and all that. I mean, it could have been dropped.
Yeah, it could have been dropped by
bounced. It could have been dropped by a Tech student. It could have been thrown by a Tech student. Who knows?
Yeah.
But it just was found on the sideline and blamed on Texas Tech in the post-game presser with no proof at all. Well, and that's how stuff happens.
Well, I'm not trying to. You can't say no proof at all. I mean, they might have
proof that Lance Leipold had.
Okay, but somebody
a knife being thrown at a staffer.
Well, what if? Okay, the hypothetical. What if it was thrown and it hits one of them, but nobody saw it? Did it not hit him? Or are we doing the whole? Did a tree fall in the? Did you hear it bit or whatever? What if it did hit him, but nobody actually saw that?
But if the language is discovered.
Well, I understand that. I'm not saying it was thrown, but you're saying if nobody saw something being thrown and hit somebody on the sidelines, then it never happened. That's what you're saying, right? When in reality, there could be a case where something was thrown and nobody saw it and it hit them.
No, what I'm saying is I think on the sideline,
and
if it was taken immediately to the authorities like they said, regardless of which police department was on the sideline, if it was taken in the manner of, hey, this was just thrown at me, not, hey, I found this on the sideline, I think you get two different responses, is what I'm saying.
And I don't know what the response was there. That was not something that was told to me. So maybe there was a response like that. And do you think, I'm sure there's only certain things that we can be told in this situation, right?
Sure.
Do you think Robert Giovanetti would go on the record, and maybe he would say, oh, yeah, they came right to me and said, that That group right there threw it right at me. He's not going to tell me that with this ongoing investigation.
Okay, so...
And I'm again, I want to preface all this by saying I don't think the thing was thrown.
Right.
Because I don't want to be everybody attacking me that I'm the Kansas fan here.
Okay, so I've seen two different things. Was because, again, game of telephone, this Scoops guy, Vernon,
Scoops,
is just trying to repeat what you're saying, and then...
He's doing the same work, too. I mean, right. He's probably doing a lot more work than I am on the situation.
I would assume I would trust yours more. That's all I'm saying. No offense to Scoops. Respectfully, Scoops. What's his name? Vernon?
I think Vernon, yes.
I don't know that he's ever been right.
Go ahead, yeah.
I think you've been more right, in my opinion, seeing both of your work.
I will say this on the knife thing. At one point, people didn't know where the knife was because I was told that it was with Texas Tech PD.
Okay, and so that's my next question.
And then Texas Tech PD, I guess he said that Texas Tech PD said they didn't have it. That actually did happen because I had to follow up with LPD to ask if they had it. And LPD double-checked the next day with Texas Tech, and it turned out Texas Tech did have it. So there was some miscommunications between the two police departments. So that part was correct. It was always with Texas Tech, but Texas, I guess the person that they talked to through Texas Tech
didn't know,
yeah,
and couldn't check. Was the knife turned over to Texas Tech officials or police officials? That was my next
knife
question.
Was turned over to Robert Giovanetti, and then he gave it to another Texas Tech facilities staff member, and he handed it over to Texas Tech police. So this guy, I mean, I could say his name, but I don't know that you would know who he was, but he works with the facilities. Longtime employee of Texas Tech. But so Robert Giovanetti got the knife, handed it to the facilities guy. The facilities guy gave it to Texas Tech.
And we might know more.
I would think we would know more today. Yeah. I mean, I made that request 2 days ago. Sometimes it's a 2-day process. Sometimes it's longer.
Okay. I wasn't really planning to spend a whole segment there.
I wonder if Tim Brando was the one who threw it.
Probably ban him. Ban him from the stadium. Son, you were a Tech student recently.
Yeah.
You go to football games?
Yeah.
Did you throw stuff?
Tortillas.
Okay. Now, when you're throwing tortillas, do you throw them at every kickoff or just the opening kickoff?
Usually just the first one.
Okay. I think we got to get back to that.
Just the first one? Or
yeah, the opening kickoff.
Yeah. I mean, you could make the exception for maybe second half kickoff, but, I mean, opening kickoff is like the prime big deal.
See, that's where we get, though, because we'll make an exception for second half, and then it's like, oh, but maybe after a big touchdown.
Yeah.
Oh, maybe after a turnover. It's like, no, just one. You pick one.
I mean,
easier
just with, everyone's going to get in trouble now if you throw more than one, so you might as well just make it the opening kickoff.
Just go completely overboard and install extra point nets all the way around the student section, and then after the touchdown, everybody there's all those guys on the sideline pulling them up, and you go up as high as you can possibly go, and then the game is try to throw it over it. But if you throw it high like that, it's not going to.
Wouldn't it be fairly intimidating to have a bunch of nets in front of the students because they're so feral?
See
that you can't.
Well, you could get it all sponsored too.
Just start chunking everything you want at them.
Think of all of the sponsors that would be on that side, and when they take the wide shot of the stadium on the broadcast, I mean, come on, NIL money, baby.
More after this. 7.7 The Score. I think we're on to something.
Playing time is not required. This is the End of the Bench podcast from 100.7 The Score.
Speaking of which,
it is time to spin the wheel. So I've made an executive decision not to add anything this week to the wheel. If that bothers you, I don't care, really. There are 4 things on here. I guarantee you I will be spinning the wheel again at some point in the next few weeks. So we'll add things as we go on. But this is still the book report on Inner Excellence, A.J. Brown's book. Your mom makes your picks next week, which would be this week if I spin it.
I'm cheering for that one. Actually, you know what? No, I'm not.
Grow a rat tail. Yeah, she might be better than me.
Well, that's what I'm saying. We need you to keep on this heater.
And then no solid food for a week.
That one I do not want you to do.
So those are the 4. And we will spin right now. Oh, no.
Well, you can go ahead and get that one started right now.
That's... Okay.
And how long is that? Until next...
I guess until the season's... Let's say until the season's over.
Okay.
So that could be through January, potentially.
Yeah, you might want to let everybody know what you're doing through January.
All right, it is grow a rat tail.
Jamie, it was really funny, too, because Jamie just walked by, so maybe he of the high school rat tail.
Yeah.
So when are you starting? Does that mean you have to cut your hair like tomorrow so your rat tail is... I
guess it has to be visible, huh?
Yeah, because, I mean, you have a rat tail right now, but it's a lot of rats. What was a group of rats called?
Tail, yeah.
I'm looking forward to that.
I would have done any of the others.
Much
more willingly, yeah.
Why are you so disappointed in a rat tail?
Well, I've never had a rat. I was a mullet guy for a long time, as you know.
Yeah.
So it doesn't really bother me, but a rat tail just seems so extreme. And now, I'm the kind of guy that's going to do this, full on, I guess. So we'll have to see what happens here. A
mullet is just a mischief of rats, by the way.
I mean, should I just go to Supercuts and say rat tail? How do you get that done?
That's a great question. You can
take photos in. Have you seen the rat tails that have the buzzed-in rat connected to the tail?
No,
not gonna do that.
Don't do that.
But it's funny. Or like a lizard cut into your head.
No.
You
need to have a story ready for us tomorrow. I want to. Well,
I don't know that I'll get it cut today, but at some point this week before Friday, I guess I'll go and get a rat tail.
Can I get the rat tail?
One rat tail, please. Okay. And it's also the rest of them are done in the show or in a week.
Yeah, this one is. This could be a long time, actually, because you said the football season, right?
Yeah.
This could be going Happy New Year to you.
I mean, at the very least, December 6th. And then December 18th or 20th or whatever it is.
So you're going to be complaining about having a rat tail if you're playing into the new year?
No, I'm not going to complain. No, I have this thing to the Super Bowl. By the way, if Texas Tech wins a national championship, I'm not cutting the rat tail until they lose a game.
Clip that. We're going to remember that.
If Texas Tech wins a national championship, I'm not cutting the rat tail until they lose a game.
Okay. No pressure, Joey.
All right, let's do some burning questions here.
2 minutes of non-stop, in-your-face inquiries with no end in sight. It's time for Burning Questions.
All right, speaking of these playoff predictions, I'm going to give you a couple, and you just tell me your preference. We talked about it a little bit earlier. One of these is what I think would be my favorite, so I'm going to save that one. So we're going to do, would you take this one or that one all the way through these. All right, you ready?
Sure.
Number 4, Texas Tech. So this is a bye versus either Indiana or South Florida. Versus playing Memphis at home.
I would rather play Memphis at home.
Memphis at home or a bye?
Memphis at home.
All right, Memphis at home or Texas A&M in round 2 with the bye?
I would rather play Texas A&M in round 2 with a bye because they've already played. You're rested.
All right.
What? Yeah.
I'm gonna take the Aggies. Yeah.
All right, A&M at home after a bye or LSU at home?
That's tough because we've seen A&M here, and you've beaten A&M here.
This one also, by the way, has a win against LSU, and then you play Indiana.
I think I would rather have LSU in that game.
I'd rather have the bye against A&M.
I think I would go LSU at home.
Yeah,
that would just
because that's never going to happen. Otherwise.
All right, this one, first round, Oklahoma at home.
Hard pass.
I'm out.
Hard pass. Don't want to deal with that. This town would. I would have to move.
I would prefer LSU at home.
This town would probably burn.
All right, LSU at home or Notre Dame at home?
Oh, Notre Dame.
Yeah.
I think I'd stick with LSU.
Really?
Yeah.
We'll see. Neither one of them are going to happen.
Both would be awesome.
Yes. If we're talking just tailgating, then LSU.
Yeah.
But I don't tailgate, so.
Okay, this one has LSU at home. You beat LSU, and then you play Miami in the Orange Bowl. So instead of Indiana, it's Miami.
So what's the question there? There's no question there, right?
Would you take that one over the rest that we've had?
And who do you play at home?
LSU again.
Yeah. I just want to avoid playing Indiana in the second round. Is essentially give me anyone where you're not playing Indiana in the second round.
Okay. Most of these are similar, but this final one that I would prefer, it does have Indiana in the second round, but it's Oregon in Lubbock. You beat Oregon. I would like to see Oregon again. And then Indiana in the second round.
See, I would take the majority of those other first rounds to play Indiana in the second round over Oregon because what does it prove? Because you lost to them before? With a bunch of NFL guys on the team. Bo Nix, Bucky Irving, Tez Johnson. That was a pretty good team
it'd be a good
to.
Storyline.
I would much rather play a Notre Dame or an LSU.
Well, I think all three of those would butts are going to be in seats anyways.
But people have seen Oregon here. They have not seen LSU or Notre Dame. True. I think those other two would sell better.
LSU would travel.
Yes.
I think Notre Dame would too, but LSU, that'd be a young rivalry.
But
I think it's 100.7 score.
Playing time is not required. This is the End of the Bench podcast from 100.7 The Score.
I think Notre Dame would too, but LSU, that'd be a young rivalry.
But
I think it's 100.7 The Score. Welcome back, 100.7 The Score. It is the End of the Bench. This texter says only 3,500 visitor tickets in the playoffs. I just looked that up, and that's true.
Yeah.
Seems light.
Well,
that's awesome.
Yeah. Win your games and host.
I wonder how many secondary market tickets, though, would be purchased by a fan base like LSU. How many fans do you think would be in Lubbock for a playoff game if it was LSU?
More than 3,500.
Yeah. 10,000?
Maybe. I don't know. That might be. You really think that they...
No, I don't know. I'm just Throwing out a number.
Yes, it's
5.
I would 5. I would imagine if Texas Tech balled all these tickets up, no matter how much money you're getting. I know everybody has a price, but at the same time, and you might think, oh, we're going to host forever, but at the same time, you would want to be there for the first one.
Could you sell 57,000 just through the ticketing website and keep them away from LSU fans? That's what I'm saying. Like, it's got to be hard to.
Yeah. Yeah, but I would imagine.
Not that it would be hard to sell to 57,000.
No, I know. Not to beat them to the punch.
Yeah.
You should have.
I just love that we're having to
argue about this.
Yeah. It's a real conversation and not just like some dream world we're doing.
We're not filling time in the summer
here.
It's
a legitimate conversation we're having about hosting a playoff game. It's incredible. My hope is that you get the bye.
Yes.
I would love to host a playoff game in Lubbock. That would be incredible. Professionally, as a fan, to be in that atmosphere, to potentially be in that press box, to potentially do an Optimum Game Day Live for a playoff game, regardless of time of day. I mean, you could play that at 6 a.m. and I would be just ecstatic. But just imagining what your season could be if you are a top 4 team in the playoff rankings. I mean, that's legitimately going 13-0.
Yeah.
I mean, that is something new.
Probably have to be 13-0, right? You would think.
I don't know, because I think Ohio State and Indiana still play each other, right? Or do they not play this year?
Well, figure that out a bit.
I mean, I think where you are right now, already being up at 7, and just dreaming of like the perfect scenario for Texas Tech to get another big win is that BYU wins this weekend and next weekend and the following weekends, however long that game is away, that they're undefeated and you're undefeated. I mean, that's probably a top 10 matchup if both teams are undefeated.
Yeah. They do
and
not
so
play
you would
Indiana.
they don't play Indiana this year. They played them last year.
Yeah.
But still, I would assume that if you do get a top 10 win against BYU potentially, if BYU can handle their business, I would pick Utah this weekend, so I would assume BYU is going to win. I'm doing opposite theory, so I guess I will pick BYU this week.
That's awesome. So
I'm doing the Costanza.
So you are also picking. You're also picking Arizona State.
Are those TV numbers?
Yeah, I don't think if you want this. Somebody sent it to me and it might be mistaken.
So it's Kansas on
Big Fox.
On Big Fox at 6:30. No, I don't think it's mistaken. I would say 800,000.
That's why I think it's mistaken.
Oh.
On this list, that game is not on here.
Oh, are the other Fox games on there?
CW games are on there.
Well, but are other Fox games on there? Specifically Fox?
No, there are no Fox games on it.
So it's not mistaken. It's just...
Well, why would it have CW?
Well, it's how certain Nielsen things come out, and that particular website doesn't always have Fox.
Yeah. A friend of mine was like, was Tech streaming last week? Why are they not on here?
It's a Fox thing.
Okay.
There's 2 different Nielsen numbers, and that one takes the one that Fox doesn't always put out. There's another Nielsen number. If that's out, the other one's out, and I'll go find it.
I was about to. So we need to find that during the break.
I just was setting up to think it was 800,000, but I would guess you got maybe 1.5 in that time slot. That'd be a good number. I think you got 1.5 against 1.4 something against Houston on ESPN in that slot.
What else was in that time slot besides Georgia, Auburn?
What was the ESPN 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock number?
ESPN or ABC?
ESPN. The ABC one's going to be bigger.
Fox is actually on this thing. It has Illinois and Ohio State on there.
The big noon kickoff?
Yeah, but that's the only Fox on there. You need to find your numbers because if it's not, there is absolutely no way Rice UTSA had more viewers.
No.
Yeah. North Texas, South Florida had 1.1 on a Friday night.
Wow.
It's pretty solid. What were you saying? Which one were you referring to? Was it that would have been Florida A&M, ESPN? That had 2.62. So that you were going up against that as well.
Okay. Yeah, Georgia, Auburn, which is the SEC game of the week.
Yes.
That was 6.7 million.
Yep.
Alabama, Missouri right at 7 million.
Yep.
Oklahoma, Texas at 8.7. Those are the ABC games.
Just let me get off my soapbox real quick, but I'm going to say one thing. Don Williams from the Lubbock Avalanche Journal said nobody cared about OU Texas this year. All right, I'm off my soapbox.
Most watched game of the year? Of the week?
Of the week, not of the year.
Indiana, Oregon on CBS, 5.6.
Can I say one more thing on the soapbox?
Uh-huh.
That was probably one of the worst football games of the day as well. Off the soapbox.
Ohio State, Illinois, as you said, Fox 5.3. Michigan, USC on NBC, 4.3. And then 3 more ESPN games. One on Thursday night was 1.4. That was Iowa State, Colorado. Florida, Texas A&M was 2.6. Pitt, Florida State was 2. And then...
Have you come across yours yet?
The 7:30 Fox broadcast, 1.4.
1.4.
So that's what I expected. I think that's a good number.
Iowa State, Colorado also had 1.4. 1.44.
Yeah, Iowa State, Colorado, 1.44. Kansas, Texas Tech, technically 1.39. 1.388, if you want to get all the way down. Arizona State, Utah, the late window was 1.27. BYU, Arizona, 868 on ESPN2. The time slot you're on this week, potentially, the ESPN2 afternoon game, Navy Temple, had 215. I think a good number for Texas Tech, Oklahoma State in
it's
that
215.
In that window, no.
24.
No, I'd say
I'm joking.
Hopefully 500.
Yeah.
But not like a big number.
No.
That's not your ideal situation there. Though any other year, probably Oklahoma State, Texas Tech, with how Oklahoma State is doing, and if let's say you were, 5-2 instead of potentially 7-0, you would be on ESPN Plus.
Yes.
Or TNT.
Yeah.
I mean that would be a third tier game.
Yeah, that one, and yeah, ESPN2 or ESPNU or whatever.
Yeah,
you would
think mid-afternoon.
You would think, with the fact that you're going to be top 7 or higher,
yeah,
you're going to be in the top 7. I would be hard pressed to not have that on ESPN2. I don't know what the other guy. I can't remember, but a potential top 5 team, you're going to throw them on you. I don't think so.
Regardless of the opponent.
Yeah.
All right, that's another solid number there for Texas Tech in the Big 12. More after this. Hour number 3 on the other side.
Playing time is not required. This is the End of the Bench podcast from 100.7 The Score.
Give me insight on how tickets work. I'm a season ticket holder. Do I have to fork over face value or do I get first dibs? I think both. I think you might get first dibs, but I don't think there will be a discount for you.
Yeah, I don't know. But yeah, first dibs, definitely.
And I also think there's no uniform playoff pricing. I think the school gets to choose. I wonder how student tickets will be done.
I mean, I'm sure with student tickets going to be kind of the same. Possibly, but I mean, I know they've done it in the past where like students pay like $10 or something. Like you got to go online and like you just enter your student ID. But I know for the Kansas game, they stopped letting students in like 2 hours before kickoff.
Yeah.
So I can only assume with 3,500 for Ellis or whoever we end up playing, that's how many they get, and then the student section fill up the rest of the visitor side. I'm sure it's only. If you're not there probably 3 or 4 hours before game time, you might not even get in. If we do host.
Yeah, if you host. You might get a bye. I do think that students would show up, but it's also like, when that is, it's in the Christmas break. So I do wonder if there's a smaller student section or if you are going to give, like, is it 6,000 students? 5,000 students? What do you try to do there?
I can almost guarantee you that every single student comes back for if we do end up hosting a game. I think we do end up coming back for that.
Oh, I would agree, but I just don't know what the student allotment would be.
Yeah, I don't think it would be.
It would be normal, probably.
Yeah, it would be less, you would imagine.
Yeah. See, you'd certainly like to have that lower bowl pretty rowdy for a playoff game. And I also wonder, in basketball for big games, it's one of those where, hey, if you've been to this many or you go to these certain games, you get first dibs on this game kind of thing. I wonder if there's something set up there, too. Like, if you've been to every home game and we can track that on your student ID, then you get first right for the playoff game. So I wonder if there's something like that as well.
Yeah. Good problem to have.
I know they do that for basketball.
Yeah. So that's why like you didn't say that before the season. I think that'd be pretty presumptuous too. Yeah. But at 6-0, I don't know it's as presumptuous anymore. Let's assume for a second that Sam Leavitt is playing on Saturday. Have you done your prediction yet for Jamie?
No.
Okay.
I'll write it today.
Well, I was just going to say, would your prediction have changed throughout the week if health or whatever? Or you, like Joey, assuming that Sam Leavitt was always going to play?
I'm assuming Sam Leavitt's going to play, but it would certainly change if he was not playing.
It would change if he's not playing, but I went into it thinking he was going to play.
Yeah.
On the pregame show, Optimum Game Day Live with Jamie Lent and I said, Jamie, I have a conspiracy theory. I said, I think Sam Leavitt is sitting out the Utah game to be healthy for Texas Tech. And we both kind of laughed, right? I wasn't joking, really. And I know that was a big game for Arizona State, but it just feels like long-term goals, it's better for them to be at full health against Texas Tech. Now, they aren't because they lost 2 more pivotal pieces.
Lost an offensive lineman.
And more there against Utah. So, I mean, they are banged up. And maybe Sam Leavitt in any year would have set out that game on the road at Utah, and he really was hobbled and couldn't go. But from what I've seen from Sam Leavitt, even though he missed a game last year, it feels like in the biggest moments he's going to show up. So I'm expecting him to play, regardless of status, I guess. If he's doubtful today on the injury report tonight, I would take that with a massive grain of salt.
Yeah. When he was hurt last year, did he miss the game before the Tech game? Was it kind of the similar situation? I don't know. He missed the Cincinnati game, right?
No, it was after.
It was after? Okay, yeah. So he had played everything up to then. I say that it would change. What did he do last year? He had a rushing touchdown and he threw an interception, right? I mean, I know he threw a pass to Cam Scattaboo that was more of a coverage issue than Then a great throw, right?
Missed tackle issue mostly, yeah.
Yes, that's a. So I don't know that. I think what is it? 9. It started at 11.5 and it dropped to 9.5 after yesterday's practice. I think you beat them by 9.5 either way. I think you beat them by double digits. I'm to the point, honestly, Rob. I think you beat everybody by double digits the rest of the way.
Does your prediction change if it's Baron Morton or Will Hammond?
No.
Yeah.
It does not. And somebody else that we used to work with posed this question yesterday, and I found it very interesting, and I agree with it 100%. If you had to name an offensive and a defensive MVP at the mid-season mark, who would you go with? I added to it, but
for the Big 12?
For Texas Tech.
Oh, for Texas Tech?
If you had an offensive and a defensive MVP mid-season.
Cam Dickey, David Bailey.
Okay. I agree with David Bailey. You could make the argument. What are your 2 biggest games this year that you played?
Utah.
Okay.
And I would say Houston, but
you're
going Kansas?
I'm going to go Kansas. Yeah, I get it because yours were road games. Who was the quarterback in the second half of those games?
Will Hammond.
You could make an argument that Will Hammond is the offensive MVP.
Well, I think you could make an argument that Baron Morton is the offensive MVP.
And you could make the argument for both of them.
Yeah. I mean, that game was 21-0 when Will Hammond took over.
The one here?
Yeah.
Yes. No, I know. This one is certainly not as big as the Utah one, but I think Cam Dickey certainly had a great game.
Yeah.
But I think having a running quarterback that scored 2 rushing touchdowns of his own and kind of made you decide one or the other type deal certainly had helped Cam Dickey a little bit, right? Some. And the fact that the Kansas defense stunk.
The first play of the game was 71 yards.
Yes, I'm well aware.
Yeah.
He got a good chunk of his yards on 2 carries. I'm not saying he didn't have a great game.
Oh, I think Will Hammond is as capable
Joey
at
said
his
it
peak
much
than Baron Morton.
Yeah.
As capable. But I think the floors are different.
Yes.
I think Baron Morton has a much higher floor just with experience right now.
Yeah, I agree with that.
More after this. 100.7 The Score. It's the end of the bench.
Definitely not the starters. You're on the End of the Bench podcast from 100.7 The Score.
Welcome back. 100.7 The Score. It is the end of the bench. Talking Texas Tech, Arizona State. Been trying to dig into like some matchups here for Texas Tech and Arizona State, and in the last couple of weeks it was the Houston game where, well, let's go all the way back to the Utah game. The Utah game, you're looking at that matchup and saying your elite defensive line potentially versus their for sure elite offensive line, just at the time.
Yeah.
And I think it's been proved since both really good. You've seen what this defensive line has done in the following 2 weeks, and then you look back at that Utah game and say, well, they kind of handled the defensive line fairly well. And I think the defensive line handled their offensive line really well. It was a really good matchup between 2 really good units, I thought.
Yes.
Even looking back. Then you go to the Houston game, and at the beginning of the week, I thought, after the bye, this is a matchup that I think looks a lot like the Utah matchup, except they don't have good offensive tackles. They have bad offensive tackles. Mm-hmm. But I still thought that game would be close well into the second half. Maybe not tied, but I thought it would be, a touchdown or 2 in the second half, and then you'd pull away in the fourth again. And it really didn't ever feel like that. It was, to me, pretty well wrapped up at halftime.
Yeah.
And in fact, they did not score in the second half, and you did. But at the beginning of that week was much different from what I felt at the end of that week. At the end of the week, I was like, this is going to be 38-3. I could not extend my thought from the beginning of the week to the end of the week. I just had talked myself into this is not a good matchup for Houston at all.
Yeah.
You go into last week, and it pretty much played out how I thought it would. I thought Kansas would get hot for a minute. You'd have to withstand it. But I picked 42-24 maybe. So I was a touchdown off of Kansas. I thought they might be able to score one late or whatever else. I certainly didn't think they'd give up 17 unanswered. But I thought you'd get into a bit of a heater for a quarter or two, and then you'd wear them out and finish them off in the fourth. So going into Arizona State, it just does not feel like they have enough horses to keep up with you. How they're run right now, they have a decent run defense, but I do question, do they have a good run defense, or have they played TCU and Baylor?
Well, Kenny Dillingham, I addressed that in the press conference on Monday, and he owned up to, yes, we had a horrible game against Utah, run defense wise, but go back to look at what we've done, and he said like the last 16 games. Our identity is we have a good run defense. So I think he said 16 games. So he certainly thinks they have a good run defense, whether it's TCU or whoever. And I guess over a 16-game window, if you've looked good at it, you've got to kind of take him at his word at that point, right? I mean, they won a Big 12 championship. They must have had a pretty good run defense the majority of last season. I don't know how many of those guys are back, but
a lot of them.
A lot, yeah.
10 maybe.
So, do you think you're going to run the football as well as Utah did against them?
They handled Taj Brooks fairly well last year. He had 117 yards. Of course, he had 100 yards in every game he played in, pretty much.
How many carries?
27, and that's 4.3 per.
Okay.
He had 133 as a team, though some of that was Baron Morton sacked 3 times for minus 15.
Yeah.
Cam Dickey, 3 carries, 24 yards.
There you go.
And one of them, I think, going north, was one of his best runs of the year where he broke off a couple of tacklers.
So what you're
and
saying
got
is
16
maybe
yards.
Did most of the damage on one run.
Well, yeah, 16 of 24. And Kenny Dillingham praised his contact balance in his press conference on Monday.
Kind of has a Cam Scadaboo build, right?
But I just think maybe not as crazy mentally.
I said build. I didn't say.
TCU has an awful run offense. They just can't run the ball.
Yeah.
And they also sacked Hoover a bunch of times. I think it was like minus 40 yards. They ran for about 60. It was about minus 40. I think they finished with 10, so that'd be 50 and 40 or whatever it was. And then Baylor, famously, has not this year focused on the run.
Yeah.
I think they ran it maybe 20 times against Arizona State.
They did lose their starting running back at the beginning of the year, right?
Their second guy.
Second guy, okay.
Who was a big piece.
Yeah.
I mean, last year they had a 1-2 punch.
Yeah.
And this year they have a punch, and it hasn't been as strong without the counter.
Yeah.
I mean, you talk about a boxer, right, who has a great combo. Some boxers have great jabs, and they can beat you with a jab.
Yeah.
Some boxers have a great combo. And let's say you have a great combo, but you lose your jab, and it's just the hook.
Yeah.
And you're just trying to throw hooks the whole time. You don't have a jab. Yeah. So I do think that Baylor's run game has been affected. They also have just not been great run blocking, and I think Texas Tech has improved in that respect. But if let's just say that is the case, that they do handle the run game for Texas Tech. Well, you have Coy Aiken, Reggie Virgil, Caleb Douglas, Terrence Carter. And by the way, these running backs both have 70-yard receptions. One scored, one didn't this year. So I think you have different ways to attack. If you look at Arizona State's offense against what this Texas Tech defense can do, I'm not Shieldwood. I'm no Shieldwood. I don't claim to be. But don't you think you could just double Jordan Tyson and put a bunch of guys in the box and say, hey, I dare you to beat us any other way?
Probably.
And they've won. I think they've scored 17 touchdowns, and like 13 of them are from Tyson and Levitt.
That's exactly what you do then, right?
I mean, barring a Megatron effort from Jordan Tyson, I don't think that Arizona State can convincingly move the ball. They scored 27 against Baylor and 27 against TCU. Now, I will say, if you're up 17 or 21, do not rest, because Arizona State is a team that can come back and will never give up. They've come back from 17-0 twice this year. They lost to Mississippi State anyways, and then they beat TCU down 17-0.
They were ahead in that Mississippi State game, though. They just forgot to play defense.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, they retook the lead, or they took the lead finally.
Yeah.
And then, they scored, 1-2 plays?
Yeah.
I think it was 3 plays, one successful play.
Yeah, so if they scored 17, 20, or 27 against them, I don't know how many teams left on the schedule are going to score 20 points against you if they're going to get to that point.
I think you're going to learn a lot about Bryce Pollock this week.
Mm-hmm.
If he's a guy that's going to follow Jordan Tyson around, or if you're going to let Jordan Tyson move around and see who else can cover him. If you're going to leave Bryce Pollock on one side of the field, does Jordan Tyson go up against Demir Boyd or whoever else?
Dante Balfour.
Do you try to find those mismatches if you're Arizona State, or do you just say, hey, this is where Jordan Tyson plays? Do you try to move him into the slot against John Curry or a Brendan Jordan rolling down or a Cole Wisniewski? I don't know. But I do think if it's a hobbled Sam Levitt, you might see a lot of pass rush. Beyond just sending 4.
Yeah, I was about to say, besides just...
Yeah, some blitzes and unique things like you did to Jalen Daniels. I mean, you basically sent 5 and 6 against Jalen Daniels a bunch of times and just said, I dare you to find someone.
Yeah.
And if it's I dare you to find Jordan Tyson, who's triple covered down the field.
Yeah, that's more... You can find somebody like a tight end. That's about all he could find.
More after this, 100.7 The Score. 30 minutes remain.
This has been the End of the Bench podcast from 100.7 The Score. Go to 107thescore.com for more from the Double T Sports Network.